at least a lot of those women were miserable because they couldn't leave those marriages. Why were those kids so much better adjusted, lady? Why?
I don't know, adjust you to what you're talking about. Again, then I'm going to go to your argument that you keep bringing that up, that, oh my God, why didn't they do this? If we didn't have DNA technology back then, how could you find DNA? That's what I'm saying.
You
If
can't. You
it
couldn't.
wasn't, if you didn't
You
even invent
couldn't.
what ADHD was at that time, you could see the signs. And like I gave you an example, people thought somebody was getting a din on them. They were doing exorcism on them because they could see it.
I literally agree with all of this. You're not. Why don't you
So,
understand what I'm saying to you?
no, I do understand what you're saying. Well, why can't you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Because it makes no
That why
sense.
those kids
Irrational.
are different now, and why these people that you see that people have ADHD. We didn't. Was there a thing as ADHD back in the day?
No, of course not.
Was there? No, right? Why?
Because we didn't have the linguistics
Because
nor
we
the
didn't
psychological
have a
approach
diagnosis.
to
Exactly.
diagnose it, right?
We didn't know that these certain characteristics in a person can be ADHD, even
Right.
though those people
Totally
had it.
makes sense. Totally makes sense.
It,
So they
right?
did actually have it. It just wasn't diagnosed, right?
Hang on. And back in the days, we have no data. We have better ways to collect data now. You don't have the data to measure the happiness of women. Nobody was going home to home asking women if they were happy. Okay. And the fact that you're saying all those people turned out okay. Are you serious?
No, I didn't say that. No. I didn't say okay. I said that their outcomes were far better. The outcomes for those children are far and away better for the outcomes of children in single mother households right now. There's no doubt about that. When you're, and again, you keep on saying we didn't have the tools to diagnose it. I'm agreeing with you. What part of this are you not getting? I agree. You didn't have to, but that wouldn't make the mental illness not present because you can't diagnose it. They would still have the mental illness. You just couldn't diagnose it. You would think they would be worse, but they weren't worse. Even if you had no diagnostics, they still weren't doing worse. So the thing is like these two parent households, we see this over and over and over again. The outcomes for those children, way better. They did better academically. They did better physically. They did better in almost every aspect of life in comparison to modern children who are raised in single mother households. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All data points to this. All of it.
Okay, so you were saying that those kids back in the days were better physically. Okay, yeah, I agree with you because there was no internet, there was no social media. Kids went outside, they played, they socialized. It was a different time, right? That's what you keep bringing it. No, you want. It was a different time. There was not as many people in the world. It wasn't so multicultural, right? Was it? It was a different world where
these are great arguments against feminism.
Going to be different. Hang on, the outcomes are going to be different. Right? Nobody was glued to their TV all day long. So obviously they were better physically fit, right? They went and played more sports so you could see better sportsmen coming out of there. Nowadays you're seeing more gamers. It's just different. You're still seeing that talent, but it's different. It's you don't no, because there wasn't that many people at that time either. Like I just don't understand how you keep comparing that time to now time because the situations were different. You know, everything wasn't.
These are great arguments against multiculturalism.
It wasn't so expensive. You know, both parents didn't have to go work outside, right?
Yeah.
You could live in a home and one car in a decent. The times have changed now. You cannot just say, "Oh, it's because single mom."
This is great.
And again, the single moms. Where are the fathers? Why are they
like? This is fantastic. You're right. It's almost like putting women in the workforce, right? Because rich industrialists wanted them to be in the workforce, and they did, and it was all funded by Rockefeller, for instance, who wanted them in the workforce in the worst way. Okay, doubled the now amount of labor, industrial labor, which was available, thus decreasing and suppressing wages necessarily. It was a terrible idea. You're right. They could afford one income because society was set up for that. Women demanded the opposite, and the outcome of that was really bad. Not only that, but let's take a look at your other arguments here, which are absurd arguments. If you would have a good leg to stand on if you said, well, wait a second, it's a different time then, and they didn't have A, B, C, and D. Well, okay, but now we see in two-parent households right this second in modernity, the outcomes for children are still way better. Even if they're in houses where the mom and daddy don't really like each other that much, the outcome for the kids are still better. Why? Because they govern that stuff. They govern the smartphone use. They make them have more playtime. They make demands that they watch less TV. Single mothers aren't making those types of demands. They don't even have time to make those types of demands. Clearly, it's better to
And
have
time.
a two-parent household and keep those intact. Feminism has been doing everything it can to destroy that and
Time.
women's liberation. And I
Kick it
just
over to
demonstrated it to
Malich.
you, and you demonstrated it yourself by
It
saying,
is
by giving the
definitely,
examples of
We
how
have to be.
society
We have
used to
to
be
keep
way
it
better.
fair here. Malich, go ahead.
I think I think women need to have the right to have a divorce. If they're not happy in a marriage, they should have a right to divorce. The fact that you keep saying it and keep bringing it up, I would agree with you. Yes, I agree with you that a child needs both parents. And again, you keep saying single mothers, single mothers, single mothers. I can list 100 names right now of single mothers whose men are not involved. They don't want to see the kids. So you keep blaming the women where we are the ones trying. First of all, we didn't go and get an abortion because otherwise then we would be baby killers. So now we chose to keep the kids, right? So that's also our responsibility. Now we're single mothers and nobody wants us anymore. And the men go and cry on the internet, oh, we are restricting access to their kids. No, these men choose. I have even seen men that will quit working so they don't have to pay child support. Yes, maybe single mothers do fall behind, but they have a lot on their plate. But I will tell you something else. I know you're bringing these stats and stuff, but what I see around me is totally different. I have
And
seen single mothers, once they
time.
get out of the relationship, they're better, they're focusing on themselves, they can focus better on their kids now. Their life is more organized, they're doing far
Kick
more
it
better when they were together in an
over.
unhappy relationship. Thank you.
Yeah, this is hilarious because we can look at multiple studies which have meta-analysis done on them, right? And so we can prove that the court system has been extraordinarily biased against men towards women when it comes to custody here in the United States. We have all the support in the world to prove it. We also know that women are initiating the divorces, not men, due to the unhappiness level, right? They're the initiators of these divorces, not the men. So yeah, the men are like, oh, okay, so you're going to take my kid, hit me out of the blue with a divorce, right? And I'm supposed to pay child support? Like, screw that. It's a raw deal. So yeah, men have legitimate concerns and gripes with this, right? When they get blasted with things like this, men are put in that position. The court systems have been traditionally biased against them. At least my entire adult life they have, and in my father's adult life they were. The second we went into no fault and the custody agreements were automatically defaulting to women. We can see this time and time again. Only through men's rights advocacy has this gotten better at all. And right now, what we can do is we can look at the data of single mother versus single father households, and the single father households outperform them by every single metric. Do you know why that is? It's because abuse in the home
And
happens to children
time.
mostly because of step parents, where women are bringing strange men around the kids, and that's when the kids get diddled and they get beat up and they get everything else. That's on women. That's on the women. You understand?
This whole argument that oh, is because the single mothers are bringing men because otherwise kids were never getting molested in the houses. Let's not even talk about the church in Pakistan. Most of the kids
Let's talk about it.
in hang on in the double family homes. You know who is getting molested in Pakistan? They're wearing burqas. They're covering everything. The kids are getting molested at their house in their house. Okay, some other step parent didn't have to come in. Yeah, I know it happens, and women should be careful. But the way you paint here that every single mother is here going on, I've had one guy meet my daughter because I know what it takes to be in that situation, right? Ever. And that's the worst thing that can happen to your have like your
Did
child
you
get
say you had
molested.
a guy beat your daughter?
No, I said I've only have had one man meet my daughter,
Oh,
but you
meat.
sit
Okay, sorry.
here, paint all single mothers that are bringing their, step parents in. And again, how is that woman's fault? Because she's trusting that man. And of course, you men are like this. You will like be, I can't even believe it. Like you will come into a relationship with a woman and then try to go and do that to their kid. Because men are so evil, right? But again, I'm gonna go back to your point saying that if it is in a double household and stuff, I agree to you a certain extent. But at the same time, I don't agree with, sorry, I don't even know what point I was making. I just totally lost it up there. Sorry.
Well, let me respond very quickly
Yeah, please.
to all
What you were
these.
saying, can you repeat that?
Yeah,
Because
to
I
all
do
the hang on, let me respond quickly to all these claims. We'll start with molestation in church. You're right, it does happen, but you know where it significantly happens way more? Public schools, which is where you're sending your kids. Way
Yeah.
more. It's 100 times more, in fact, 100 times more in public schools. The public institutions are way worse than the churches. So the thing is like that point is moot. You're not advocating we get rid of public schools because of that. So not only that, but let's hang on, but not only that, let's push in even further when it comes to step parents. Am I saying all step parents are bad? No, I'm a step parent myself. Okay.
Well,
Am I saying that that's bad? No, I'm not saying it's evil. What I'm saying is that if you really have concern for your children, you'll do everything you can first to make your relationship work out on behalf of your child, knowing that the stats and rates of bringing strange people around are going to be detrimental to your child. That's terrible. And this happens over and over again. Women are choosing to be single moms. The father does not want to break it up. The father does not want to break the family up. They choose to be single moms by initiating these divorce procedures against the husband's will, and they don't have to show any cause. They're choosing it. You can't choose it, then complain about it.
Yeah, no, we are choosing it. I have actually spoken to 3 women that just got separated here. One was never married, but they broke up. They were together for like 7 years. Yeah, women are choosing because we're tired. Like women have literally told me, they're like, we're tired. We can't do all this work. You know,
they're like, that's gonna make it less
you
work.
guys are not putting your own weight. No, you guys are not pulling your own weight. That you're saying we are choosing instead of being miserable. We want to leave, and men don't want to leave. Men don't want to leave. Who wants to leave when all your shit is done for you? Who wants to leave when you have a maid? Who's taking care of your kids? She's cooking, she's cleaning, she's sleeping with you, and you don't even have to pay anything.
Whoa, what a privilege. She's sleeping with you. Wow, what a privilege.
Of the bills too. Wow, it's like heaven. Haven't you seen that stats? That single women are happier and married men are happy because all their chores are done for them because they've got a maid. Like this is exactly what it is. That's why women are like, we've had enough. We'll do it ourselves. If we have to do the same work, we'll do it work. And let me tell you, one person work less is so much better. Believe me, we can focus more. So this is why women are leaving it. It is their choice. I'm not arguing with you. But you men, you don't want to leave because you're so comfortable. You don't want to do better. So women just get up and leave. They're like, okay, fuck it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so here's what's actually going on. You're talking on both sides of your mouth again. So on the one hand, you say it's so hard for single moms out here. Oh my God! My turn, lady. My turn, lady.
For 60 seconds.
So you speak out of both sides of your mouth. Okay. Oh, it's just so hard to be a single mom. Who would ever choose that condition? It's so terrible. And then on the other hand, you're like, I know women who are choosing that condition right now because they're just tired of men. You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth, right? So here's what's actually happening. Men feel an obligation, duty to keep their families intact. Women do not in modernity feel an obligation to keep their family intact. That's why they initiate these divorces. Not only are they initiating these divorces, but you, by your own admission, just said you know no less than 3 right now who just did because they're just tired. You know, they just don't feel fulfilled. What about the duty to the kid? I don't know. Screw the kid. It's all about me. It's all about mom. It's all about how I feel. It's like, no, you have children involved now. You have a duty and obligation to keep your family together, just like the men do who are not initiating these divorces. You say it's because they're so comfortable. No, they're not. They're working more than ever. They're working more overtime than ever. They're working their asses off nonstop. And by the way, the conditional, if you think that single women are so much happier, explain why they kill themselves more often than married women do if they're so fucking happy, especially divorced women. Especially divorced women try to off themselves more. In fact, this is one of the segments of demographics most likely to do it.
We'll kick it over to Malish.
It's like we can say, why are men that get divorced also commit suicide? Single men are also committing suicide.
Because it's miserable, so, yeah,
right? They're both doing it, right?
Because it's miserable.
When I try to answer you, you just distract me with these.
All right. I'm not going to distract you. Go ahead.
And so yeah, no, women are tired and men are comfortable. They are comfortable. That's exactly the reality of it. Men are working, so are women. Today, women are working. It's 2-income household. But when men come home, they want their meals cooked. They don't want to do anything at home. So exactly, this is how bad it is. Even though women know life is going to be miserable, probably really hard after they leave that guy, but they still choose it because they're still happier than what they were in before. So imagine how bad it is. Imagine how bad it is. You guys don't see your shortcoming. You guys keep blaming things on us. Women work 60 plus hours extra in just household labor, running around with the kids and their chores and doing all those things. And I'm not only talking about single moms, I'm talking about mothers that have parents. And if men wanted to keep families together, we wouldn't have men cheating with multiple women. All right. No, those men will go out. Men do commit more adultery, and you know that men are more likely to go cheat because they can't control themselves. Of
And
course. And in
time.
our religion, in Islam, you're legally allowed 4 wives. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I'm not advocating on behalf of Islam. That's one. And I advocate on behalf of monogamy like Christians do. Not only that, but who are they cheating with? They're cheating with women who are homewreckers. They're like, what do you want me to say there? Not only that, but men work more hours than
Now that we're married, you know how many guys come to me and they don't tell me they're married?
Yeah, stop clucking, lady. So men work more hours than women. This is a statistical fact. You can look it up yourself. You can Google it right this second. Men work way more hours than women do. Not only that, when you say, oh, but women in household chores actually do more. No, they don't. And again, it gets way easier. Most women pack their kids off to a public institution for 8 hours out of the day. Who are you trying to fool here? How dumb do you think we are? You pack them up for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. After school activities often will take up even more of their time. You have to help them with a little bit of homework, make sure they brush their teeth and go to bed. It's a real rough life out there. Meanwhile, you have modern conveniences, washing machines, dishwashers. How long do you think it takes to load a dishwasher? Not very long. How long do you think it takes to load the laundry? Not very long. No, household chores are not, you're not overcoming men in their overtime work with household chores. That's ridiculous. And not only that, it's not laborious. As a famous comedian once said, any job you can do in your fucking pajamas can't be that hard.
Time.
Of course, that if it's not that hard, again, I'm going to tell men to do it. And there's a
They
lot of
do.
women that keep telling men in their household, it's not hard to put the dishes in the dishwasher. It's a very small thing. It's not hard to put clothes in the laundry machine. Exactly. Then why don't you do it? You do it, right? But you don't. And you're like, oh, it's so hard. It's hard. Then you do it. If it's not, if it is so easy, you do it then. And this, you're wrong about it, that women are not putting in extra hours. Women in average families are working the same time. I'm talking about the average people here that work.
Nope.
Their men work the same hours, so do the women. Okay. And men don't do even taking care of the kids, disciplining kids I see is more women's responsibility. I literally used to babysit kids, and I would complain to the men, oh, that is the mother's department. Everything is a mother's department. I see those mothers running around. If you're going to do everything for your child and you're home alone and your partner is only there and not even paying your bills, you're better off alone. Why would you want to do that? And this is exactly the mindset women are thinking with now. Okay? They're thinking with that why am I going to do something extra for this person that doesn't even appreciate it
And time.
and doesn't contribute anything? So I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're not doing anything extra. One, you're wrong. On the average, women are not working more on average than men. That's insanity. There's no way to demonstrate it because it's just functionally untrue. And you know why? It's because of occupational differences. It's literally because of occupational differences. In the trades, you're always probably going to work more hours than when you're in cubicles and in basic service work. That's just the way that it usually operates. That's why they're not going to be surpassing men in hours worked anytime soon or ever. Not only that, you say, why don't men do these things? Men do these things constantly. What are you talking about? If you go to a single man's apartment, most of the time, it's cleaner than a single woman's apartment. By the way, they do dishes. They do all of this stuff on behalf of themselves. When they're married, you have an appropriate splitting of duties. If the man is working full time, of course she needs to load the dishes. And of course she needs to take care of the household affairs. That's her fucking job. Rough gig. I know. Terrible gig. You have to get up at the crack of 10. Oh my God, you have to get up at the crack of 10 and do household chores. It's a rough life out there. Meanwhile, hubby's out the door at 4 o'clock in the morning and he's working until, I don't know, 6 o'clock at night half the time, bringing home overtime pay. You, on the other hand, ship out the kids to a public institution for most of your day. And by the time they get home, it's a couple hours before it's bedtime. The most you really got to deal with them is on the weekends. Just stop with the cope about how single moms have to put in so much work. It's like, just stop. And you end up having to speak out of both sides of your mouth anyway. So on the one hand, you say it's the hardest job ever. right? And then on the other hand, you have to then go and say, well, but the thing is it's not really the hardest job. It's like you can't even make up your mind here. Make up your mind. Is it the hardest
kick it.
job ever or isn't it?
Malish?
I'm saying no. You're saying that it's not hard. You keep saying it's not hard, and I keep saying if it's not hard, then you do it. But what I was talking about was the unpaid labor, not the paid labor. Women work at least extra 40 to 60 hours, and that's not talking about working at somewhere else. No, it's about doing your chores, just managing and everything. The whole do you think the whole system is just working because men are doing that? In
Yes.
majority, women are the ones. No, women are the ones taking care of the household in majority of the time. This whole thing that men are doing this, no, they're lacking behind. A single man, yeah, a single man. Oh my God, I used to rent out rooms, and I would say 80% of the men were disgusting. 10% of the men kept their house clean. I had another roommate, a 70-year-old man. He was so freaking disgusting. Okay, single man.
Cool anecdote, bro.
I'm talking about men that are in a relationship, in a marriage. They're not contributing. That's why you see women complaining. If they were doing it, why would we be complaining? Please tell me. If they were doing it, and we're literally tired. We're literally tired of raising an extra baby. It's like an extra baby.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. I'll explain it. It's called solipsism. Yeah, it's called solipsism. It's due to solipsism. It's because you think the world revolves around you. Every time we talk about duties that women have, even towards their own children, even when we talk about, no, just the opposite. I'm saying it doesn't revolve around me. In fact, I'm saying that solipsism itself is bad. The idea of your own personal self-fulfillment over your children's welfare is a terrible mindset. But every time we go back to it, it's all about me, materialism, me, my fulfillment, me, my journey. It's all about you. And so here, this is the fundamental crux and the problem in which we have. Men have a duty, right, to keep their families together. Women feel no such obligation. This is why they're initiating these divorces, because they don't feel like they're getting enough out of it. By the way, again, there is no possible way for you to demonstrate that women are working an additional 60 hours a week in household chores. That's nuts. And it's not even true. Not only that, women can't even put in a fucking doorknob. They can't fix any of the electrical problems. They can't fix any of the plumbing. They don't do any of that shit. They just consider, I wonder if they, in any of these stats, they put any of that in there. Not only that, but let's point out the fact that all of society and all of its infrastructure is completely built by men. The occupational hazard distinction is so distinct that almost all job occupations or job occupational deaths are men, not women. For this reason.
Same arguments. Oh, man made this, man made that, man made. Some guy told me this, right? The last alpha man that I was dating told me this. We made you the dishwasher. I go search who created the dishwasher. It was a woman. The Wi-Fi that you are on using that. Also
women didn't make Wi-Fi. That's a lie.
Right? No, it is. And then there's so many discoveries that have been done by women. That DNA, that was another one that was taken by men because, they like to steal stuff. The thing revolves around you. You keep saying that, oh, women didn't invent this. We are the ones that we're running the society, and it's not all about us. It is all about us. We want to control you, and we want to tell you how you should live, and you should listen to us because what we're saying is right for you. How you feel is totally not concerned. Like I'm going to say the same thing. It's better for a child to be with a stable parent with a stable mind than going crazy all the time or being unhappy or being depressed. I was just listening to a thing today, this woman that drowned her 2 kids. She was married, right? Like women are literally doing a lot of things that they can't because of having kids. And
yeah, and Casey Anthony was single. What's your point?
Losing their mind. Like you keep throwing me off. Whenever I'm talking, you just keep like, I don't know why you keep doing that. So again, I'm going to go back to my point that it is possible if you are separated. Why can't you go see your kid? I know that if my child was ever taken away from me, I will do anything in my power to go see that kid. Why? These men, they don't want to see the kids. This is the whole bullshit that they go, oh, we're trying. I don't know about US, but in Canada, it's not the same.
Yeah, so anyway, all lies again. If you're talking about the modern dishwasher, most definitely not invented by a woman, which is exactly what your ex was talking about. You're talking about an old handmade dishwasher from the 1800s, lady. Also, George Anthill was the one who invented Wi-Fi. An actress tried to steal credit for it and couldn't because she didn't know anything about engineering. She literally didn't know anything about engineering. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Not only that, yes, when we're talking about just the distinction in occupational hazards, why do you think that exists if men aren't the ones who are doing all of the infrastructure building? Why would you? How is it that men can have so much occupational death if what they did wasn't dangerous versus women who what they do is not dangerous, including basic things like law enforcement and military? You still always have to appeal to men for the very force for rights that you always try to make the claims to. Like, all these feminist talking points are pure garbage. They've been refuted 100 times. You have no leg to stand on. And every time we dive closer into the arguments, you come closer to my position than I come to yours. You still want to limit suffrage. You still want to limit these things. And you make the claim that single motherhood, right? Well, that's a conditional of tiredness and exhaustion, while at the same time saying, but
And
also it's the best thing that you can do, even though it's the hardest job ever, which would lead to more
time.
exhaustion. You talk out of both sides of your mouth constantly.
Oh my
You
God.
need to make
Again,
up you need to
at
make
least
up your mind on your
at
own
least
positions.
I'm talking from my mouth. You're talking from your behind. See, so don't, like, I don't understand. I told you, yeah, I agree with you because I'm with common sense. That's why I agreed with you. Yes, we can drop we can raise the age for that. And I'm still gonna say you, yes, I agree with you that for a child, it's important for both parents to be there. But you over and over again, no, it's the women's fault. Now, I said that is one thing. That is one thing that men are not putting enough. Then there's infidelity, there's cheating, there's other stuff too. There's alcoholism, there's drug use. There's so many other factors to it. I just told you one thing and you just like, oh, I don't know. No, I'm not going back on my thing. I agree with you. But I'm just asking, where are these men? Where are these men? You just keep making excuses for them. Oh,
Getting
they go to
divorced by the
court
women.
and this, and they don't get it. No, it's your child. You will make a way to go see your child. Okay, you can make a way to go date all these
And
women, all these single men that have all this time to go see and date all these women. They don't have time for their own kids. They will
time.
make no way to go see their own kids, but they
All
have
right.
Yeah.
time for other things.
60
Yeah,
seconds for Andrew.
nobody's saying that there aren't scumbag men out there. I would be the first to agree with you that there are some, but here's the thing. If you're the initiator of the divorce, it gives you time to plan. And so a lot of times men are getting blindsided with these divorces, pre-planned. Women already have a lawyer ready to go, and conventionally the court has awarded custody to them because they are in the know, right? They were the ones who planned the entire thing out meticulously. And so you can't say at the one hand, like, oh, he can only have Junior every other weekend, right? He can only have him every other weekend. You stripped him from his fatherly rights. And then at the same time, you're like, just where are the men? Why aren't you paying enough support to me for me to live my luxurious lifestyle and raising the kid in the family I fucking destroyed by divorcing the father? Yeah, that's brilliant logic, lady. Not only that, let's point out a couple other things. You keep on saying I'm talking out of my ass. You were the one who just got done giving literally false information about how the person who made Wi-Fi was a woman, an actress with no engineering background really whatsoever. No, it was invented by a man, and she tried to take credit for it. And feminists have often tried to give her credit for it, but they can't. They can't because she couldn't have made it. It's well known now she couldn't
And
have. You're full of shit.
Well, maybe you want to go on Google and fix that, because when we Google all those things, it's something else. Or where did feminism has something to do with that too? We bought Google and we changed everything.
Maybe you should actually
According
read
to
the
you,
stories
right?
you
Yeah,
Googled.
we did that too. We did that too. We did that.
Read the
Again,
stories you Google, lady.
I'm gonna come back to the poor men. They get caught off guard. Oh my God, they didn't see it coming. Of course you don't see it coming because you don't see it coming. You've been told to change that light bulb. Oh yeah, what were you saying, that I couldn't do a doorknob? I can run circles around you doing things. I've had men here that don't know how to fucking do shit, and I was the one fixing stuff. Not to talk about technology.
Yeah, right.
These today,
Yeah, right.
you might know it, but men in average don't know nothing about technology. They don't know anything smart, how it goes. They always ask me for help. Any man that
sure
I've
they
come
do.
across can't even change a light bulb. So I don't know where you're coming from that women can't do this, women can't do that.
I'll kick it over to Andrew.
Well, here, let me just ask you a couple of basic questions. How do you know what type of wattage light bulb you're supposed to use in a light bulb fixture? How do you know what watt you're supposed to use?
You see it on the bulb before when you.
No, how do you know the watt? How do you know what watt light bulb to use? Not what wattage the light bulb is, what wattage you're supposed to use for the fixture you're putting it in. How do you know?
there's only few ones that you can use. Either it is the 40, 60, or 100, depending on
how do you know which one you should use? How do you know which one you should use?
Because it's only minimum. Like you can use it from 40 to 100.
How do you know which one you should use, though? You don't know, do you?
What do you mean? How do you know
You
which
don't know.
one to use?
How about this? Here's a basic question.
In a light fixture, in a lamp, I know I have to put a bulb. I go and I don't understand.
Here's a super duper basic question. Okay, super basic. What is a band saw?
Some kind of bandsaw. I don't know.
What's a sawzall?
A saw?
A sawzall.
A sawzall. I don't know. No.
You don't know.
No.
Okay. How many colors are on the wires that are going to the outlet that are in your wall right now?
Maybe 3, 4.
Maybe 6, 7. Like,
Why,
you don't know.
Why does it matter?
Well, because when you make these, every feminist I talk to always pretends that they're Shira and can do all sorts of basic tasks around their house. And the men are so incompetent they can't do it. And then I ask them basic questions and they don't know shit about nothing. Like, let me ask you an easy one. Here's the easiest one I can think of off the top of my head. How would you go about replacing a doorknob?
Very easy. You buy a lock. You need a screwdriver, 2 screws. That's it.
Yeah. How do you replace the knob itself?
What do you mean the knob?
Yeah, like walk me through it.
It's a handle, right? The handle, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It comes apart and then you put it up there.
You just grab a random one at the store? You just grab a random one at the store?
I am not random one from the store. No, I have common sense. When I take out something, I take that to the store and I say, okay, this is what I need. This is what I say. This is what I need. This is the type of battery I need. The thing is that I might not know all this stuff, but when I need to fix something, I can Google it. I can YouTube it. I have done a lot of things around my house. I don't get into electrical because I don't want to die. So I get an electrician, but whether
it's going to be a man.
Sorry. Yeah. So
I'm just pointing it out.
Every man is an electrician. So even for a man has to hire another man to come do the electric work, okay? By a licensed electrician, which you should be doing. Doesn't matter you're a man or a woman. But the men that I've had working up here, or the men that I have done more work. I know more things than them around the house. Because none of them owned the damn house in their 40s because they were so freaking broke, right? Because they made their life choices. Right?
Yeah.
Their life
Just
choices.
all pure solipsism.
In their 40s and didn't even know. Literally, my baby daddy went. I was shocked. He took a wet cloth, went to go change a light bulb. Guess what? Blew everywhere. This is a man for you. You know what you're talking about? The men of today. Do you think they know anything? They know nothing.
Yeah, they do. Especially in our age bracket, they know a lot.
They don't know nothing. Ask a man to do anything around the house.
Well, I wouldn't ask you. You don't even know what a bandsaw is. Why would I ask you to do anything around anything?
The minute I need to use it, I will know. But
no,
right
then
now,
you'll know. You'll get the Google machine. It'll teach you.
Any last?
You're muted right now. I can't hear you.
And sorry, my name is Molly, not N, but it's just I think I signed it with my friends thing. I'm just saying, if I was to ask you here, do you know this shade of this MAC lipstick? Will you know it? No, you wouldn't know it unless you want to use it, right? I have every single tool up there. Every time I have needed something, I go buy it. Then I get to know about it.
Okay.
You are always learning.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just pointing out to you that there's a reason. There's a reason.
That I know more than lots of men in today's age. They don't know shit. They're useless.
Yeah, I would make the exact opposite claim. I'd say they're the only ones who know anything. You don't know shit. But the thing is like ultimately, as we dive into this, right, you still haven't refuted any of my arguments here, and you're still closer to my position than I am to yours. If it is the case that we should limit suffrage, right, based on the meritocracy of the person, we're already ruling out 18. Where should we put it? Is 26, 27? Does that sound pretty good to you?
No, I personally think as soon as you start contributing, and then it also varies, right? Like now some people start working at 18. So as long as you're contributing towards a society, I think there has to be a limit to it. I
So
don't
now you're
know.
changing your
I would
position?
say when, your brain is fully developed, probably around 23, 24. But then again, these are some things that we can talk about. And I'm nowhere near your position. You want to bring the back in the days. I'm not saying I want to go back in the days. I already lived in the back in the days. I came to the future when I moved to Canada, and I like it like this. I don't want to live in the 7th
Do you
century,
know
which
that
is
even
nothing bad.
feminist theorists make the claim that tradition are experiments which worked, right? That's what tradition is. An appeal to tradition is you're appealing to experiments in society which worked. What I'm showing you is that we had a bunch of experiments which worked. We had intact households, and we had children who are way better adjusted than children are now due to those intact households. We can look at this data from the past so that we can learn what our future looks like. Our future is very bleak. Our reproduction rates are under replacement. And due to that, due to your idea of liberation, we're going to have to bring in hordes of immigrants into our nations that don't necessarily share our values just to keep our population up. And it's women who are the primary advocates for this. This is a really stupid system. And you still have not made a good argument for why it is that men shouldn't just usurp your right to vote altogether and just say you just shouldn't have it. You just shouldn't. And it's not like you could do anything about it. So what's the actual argument for why you ought to have it? Why ought you be able to vote if women collectively, when they vote, make terrible fucking decisions when it comes to society? Why should men allow you to vote?
I don't know. I don't know. Like women, I don't know why you're saying that. I think it's more like white women. Because when you were talking about the reproduction, yeah, no, women are not having kids.
Have you
And
looked at
then
the
the fact
abortion
that,
rates of black women?
hang on a second. Don't please.
Okay.
I think with reproduction, the way it is going, I think you will bounce back. It's not that. I don't want you guys to be taken over by your
It's been doing this since the
immigrants.
1800s. It's been doing this since the 1800s.
But Andrew, my whole point is the way that you guys are trying to get women to have kids. Do you think it's going to work? I don't think so. Women don't want to have kids anymore because women have realized kids are liability. They are a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie to you here. Like Andrew says, it's all easy. It's all easy. After, like you were saying, 8 hours there in school while I'm at work at that 8 hours. So I'm not like out there partying it out, right? And then I have to come back and do all the other things. So like
So pure
I don't
solipsism.
understand this. Like women don't want to have kids anymore. It's
Yeah.
too much. And then for you to keep forcing them that no, you have to have kids, you better serve the husband, you
Didn't say
better
they had
do
to.
this. No, this is not going to.
I never made a claim that they have to do anything.
This is not going to lead women to have more kids. That's why you're seeing.
According to you, nothing is. According to you, nothing's going to lead them to having more kids. And so ultimately,
it's not because
you just got done saying, hang on, lady. You just got done saying that kids are a liability and women don't want to have kids because they're too much work and they're too much of a liability. So why have them at all? This is what I'm talking about by your pure solipsism or your view of everything is self, right? What about your duties? Do women have any greater duty to society? Do they have a single greater duty to society? Just one. Can you give me one?
Yeah, we have duty. We've been doing our duties. We contribute to the society all the time. We are the sole caretakers of the whole, kids. We're the ones that have been
You're not the
taking
sole
care of the
caretaker.
kids, right?
What are
Who
duty?
who has been taking care of the kids back in the days?
Men are taking care of men.
Men
Yes.
Men are work. Who is that only taking care of the kids?
Listen,
Not
women have children. Women.
physically, who takes care of the kids?
I'm going to explain it. Okay, it is actually men.
Please answer me. Physically,
men,
Oh,
women.
men stay
Yes,
at
I'll
home,
explain it.
breastfeed?
Yes.
You believe in men
No,
breastfeeding
I
the
didn't say
kids?
they breastfeed.
Sure?
Would you let me qualify now so that you understand?
No,
Yes,
I
it's
asked you,
true.
who
And I
physically takes
answered
care
your
of the kids?
question. Now I'm qualifying it. I said men, and now I'm going to qualify it. So yes, in the very vulnerable years, because women are also vulnerable, they rely on men for protection. They literally rely on men for protection and status in society. Hordes of other men can just come take you away from Canada tomorrow, lady, if men weren't there with guns to scare them the fuck off. Men are responsible for the protection. Because of that, it's a greater duty that they have to society to protect it. Because women are the vulnerable sex, children in their vulnerable years are indeed stuck to a woman's chest. That's correct. But as they get older and get off the teat, the responsibility still shifts over to the man. He's still responsible for their health, their welfare, their well-being, their nest egg, their future, their dynasty, all of the things that would create cross-generational wealth. Those resources come from the father almost exclusively. Even in modernity, it's mostly men who set up cross-generational wealth, not women. So yes, it's men who are taking care of the kids ultimately. And they're making sure that society can function through defense so women can even breastfeed at all. Not only that, but can we just point out really quickly that you did not give a greater duty that women have? You say take care of the kids. How are you going to take care of kids? They don't fucking have any, lady.
Mhm. Well, it's not like we have been doing that duty, right? Like, but it's still not enough. Like we were being forced to do that duty, basically, in a way.
Oh my God.
And then you again, I was talking about physically. Who stays home? You yourself say it that it's better for women to stay home to raise the
During
kids.
the vulnerable years, yes.
To shape up the society, right? All
Yes.
these women have been doing that for centuries, thousands of centuries. They've been doing that. Yes, you have been protecting us. Why? Because men are violent creatures and they will come and kill a human being who is pregnant, right? Because only men can do that, right? Only men can do it.
No, women
So
can do
you're
it too,
only
but men do
protecting
do
us
it.
from men. But again, back to my point. If a woman that is pregnant and does not take care of her body, or takes something poisonous and kills that child, then what? Then your protection doesn't matter. Your anything doesn't matter. You have to, that 9 months that child is in my belly, it's my responsibility. You can come, you can take care of me, but it all depends on my physical thing. If I am not okay, that kid's not going to survive, right? This is what you guys keep forgetting, that we do have a duty. We do want to do our duty, but we don't want to be forced to do our duty. And
what is your duty?
All I'm here for is that I, as a woman, want to
But
be
what is the
treated as a
duty though?
human
Can you
being,
answer that?
right?
What is the duty?
What?
What is the
I
duty?
told you, our duty of some women, right? Let's look at it in two ways. If we were to talk about in evolution way and why we're here and why we're given these, obviously it's for reproduction,
Okay.
right? Right?
So you have a duty. You have a duty to reproduce.
I totally agree. But
so do you have a duty to reproduce?
I don't. And in 2025, I don't know.
Well, then what is the duty that women do have? What duty do women actually have? A greater duty? Like men, we can be conscripted. We can be, hang on. Let me give you an example. Men can be conscripted against their will to go fight wars on behalf of their nation. Right this second, in my country, I can be conscripted to go fight a war on behalf of my nation. The Ukraine right now, they're being conscripted to fight wars on behalf of their nation. If that is a greater duty that men have to the nation, what do women have like that? What?
Well, first of all, it's the men that are doing the wars. So that's why men have to go there. If they weren't doing the wars, then we wouldn't have to go there because men like to just fight, like egos. Secondly, yes, women are in healthcare, like you were saying. Women are the educators. Women are taking care of running the childcare. We have a lot of.
Do they have a duty to do those things?
We have a lot of roles in the society.
I'm not talking about your roles. Why don't you understand what I'm asking? Stop. No, you're not answering my question. I'm not asking about. Yeah, but you're misinterpreting the question. I'm going to have to ask it again. I'm not asking what roles women can do. I'm not asking you that. I'm not asking if women can be nurses, or even if they are nurses, or even if they love being nurses. I'm asking if they have a duty to be a nurse. Just like I have a duty to fight and defend my nation if the call of duty comes up. What duty do women have that's like that? Not what things do women do. That's not what I'm asking you.
Well, as a duty, I would say my duty before that I have to have kids, and that's my first duty, is to be a human being, a good human being, and contribute to the society that I'm living in, right? That's my priority.
Don't you agree that men have that same duty?
Hang on. But you as a man only see me as a uterus, right? That's the whole problem. There's women out there that don't want to have kids. They don't see it as a duty.
So they don't have a duty.
I was born a woman, now I have to have a kid. Why?
Okay. I don't know why you want to answer you keep asking me questions. I keep trying to answer them.
I'm not asking you. I was just saying that. Hang on, let me finish this one last thing, right? You guys keep complaining about like, oh my God, our civilization is coming to an end. It all depends if you want to be moral or immoral, right? Like it all depends, like if you're religious or not. But you can have surrogates, you can have women, or I put 100 women aside. Go have kids. Go nuts. You want kids. You want civilization. What is the purpose? Or you want the civilization and you want the family system and all that along with it, right? It does come down to it. But your civilization is not going to end, because the way the future is going to be different. Do you not know soon we're going to be having artificial embryos? We're going towards the robots thing. I don't know where you're sitting, Andrew. We're going towards the robots. I can't wait to get myself a robot. I swear to God, that's the best investment.
No.
I think.
So okay, well, I mean, I wouldn't wish for that, because if there's artificial wombs and society can reproduce itself, without having wombs, I don't know what you think happens to the status of women, but it isn't going to be very good for you. Not only that, but let us just point out very quickly that when I asked for what a greater duty was, you gave me descriptors of things that women like. That's not a duty. When I ask you, are they obliged to do these things? Must they do them? Do they have a duty to do them? You say no, they don't. You can't point to a single duty you think women have in modernity. Things they must do, even if they don't want to. Men don't want to get conscripted and go to war. They must, even if they don't fucking want to. They must go do that. Do you believe women have any duty that's like that to society? A thing that they must do even if they don't like it?
Yeah, in a society, we're all contributing. We're trying to be good people. We're trying to teach people.
That's men and women. What about women specifically? I'm asking about women specifically.
Listen to me. We have to go to war. You guys can stand up and you guys can say, we don't want to go to war. You gotta have to fight.
And then the country dies. Then the country dies.
Again, these are your mental problems, right? You created them.
We created them. I created them.
Created system. Your little ego got turned. You press a button, you start a war. Like, look at all what's happening. That little Zelensky, his ego's hurt, so he's fucking getting all his soldiers killed. I'm all against that.
So wait a second. So let me get this right. Again, if bad men want to attack us, do you want good men to fight them? If bad men want to take over Canada, the place you currently, I guess, are in, because the Canadian flag, if bad men come in, want to take that over, do you want good men to stop him? Do you want them to? Yeah, okay. So then that seems like there's an implied duty there that men have because of the need of what you have to have in order to have a nation. Can you tell me what that same thing is that applies only to women? Don't give me something that men and women both have to be good people. They both do. What is equal to that applies to women only as a duty? What?
Well, if you were to ask me today, yeah, I guess we have a duty to be a decent human being and contribute into the society. That's our duty.
Don't men have that duty too?
I don't know. I guess, yeah, you should.
Okay, well then what woman only duty? What woman specific duty do you have then? Woman specific, not men and women.
I know. You keep saying that over and over again.
Yeah, can you tell me what it is?
You think our duty is only to give birth.
Don't tell me what I think. Answer my question. What do women have a duty or not to do anything?
Yeah,
What?
To be good people to the society. If we were evil.
Okay, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try this again because I think you just maybe just don't understand. I don't know how many times I can rephrase this. You and I both agreed that men have a specific duty that only men can serve the function in. Do women specific? It's a woman only duty. Only women can do this, right? Can you name one that they have that's the equivalent of that? Can you name it? Anything. I'll take anything that is woman specific.
Our duty as women is not to be evil and be empathetic. So don't go around.
Well, don't you think that's a duty of men too? Don't you think that's a duty of men too?
No, men don't do that.
We have a duty.
Men commit more crime. You guys are more violent. You have more pedos. You guys are more.
Yeah, but don't you think we shouldn't? But don't you think we shouldn't? Don't you think we have a duty to not do those things?
You should, but you don't.
Yeah, right. Okay, so then that's a shared duty. What's a woman specific duty that's on par with the man specific duty of defense of the nation? What?
That duty is created by you men yourself. We didn't create that duty for you.
So nothing. You can't name anything. Lady, you can't name anything.
No, I told you. We're good citizens and we're not evil. Because if we
we're not evil.
if we acted like men, like we are
Yeah.
sometimes now, men don't really like it. But
Yeah, how many babies have women killed in the last 30 years? Yeah, you're not evil. How many babies have women killed in the last 30 years? You want to take a gander?
I don't know. How many
Yeah, I'm
men
sure
have
you
killed
don't.
babies? How many men have gone and raped little kids? Like, come on, can you give
How
me
many
that?
women have? They do it in school all the time.
Not as many as men.
Oh, they do it in school all the time. And when you look at the metrics, they take.
I'm sure there is, but men,
Yeah.
you can say, are more. Men actually abuse men too. Okay?
Women actually abuse women too, and men. What are you talking about? And they do it when they're at the vulnerable age, when they're children. They do it when they're children. But even if that was the case, even if it was the case that more men did evil things than women, descriptively that was true, you would still agree they both had a duty to not do those things? And I would agree with that. So what I'm asking you for is, since men actually have a specific duty based on just their genetics, the fact that they have a penis and are stronger than women to defend the nation, to give me the equivalent thing that women have. What is it?
I'm gonna tell you the same thing. It's not, I don't think it's a man's duty to go and be in the, serve in the army. I don't think so. Forcing a man to
then
go
why do you want them to
finish my point is ridiculous. Again, that's a man-made whole thing. Okay, as a human being, you should be decent, which you men are not. We're more empathetic. That's why we're not committing all these crimes, which you men are.
You kill your own children, dude. You kill your own kids.
You know that you shouldn't. You can argue that women are doing it. I'm not denying it, but there's more men doing it. There's more men in
There's not more men killing their own kids than women.
More serial killer men.
No.
There's all kinds of data on this. I don't know what you're talking
about. Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot. Here's the thing. When we do the gathering of this data, especially when you take into rape statistics and things like this, here's what we find. That they take things like non-penetrative acts as not being rape. That it's not SA when women do the exact same thing to a woman that a woman does to a man, that's not counted as rape. The thing is that ultimately I can make a really good case that when it comes to sexual assault, women are actually the primary perpetrators of it, not men. And it's just not reported by the men as being sexual assault. Not only that, let's point out a couple other things. Don't talk to me about how women aren't evil when they have 1 million abortions a year. That's fucking evil. Also, you still haven't actually named a primary duty that women have in society at all. Only shared duties that you believe men and women both should have. And that's the problem. You don't feel like women have any greater duty to society other than whatever the fuck they want that makes them feel good. Whatever makes them feel good, that's their duty. Even the not being evil is just part of a feel-good plan. You should not be evil because it makes you feel good. That's the only justification you could ever give me for anything, because, you don't believe in Sky Daddy, right?